How sleep affects our emotions. Think about the last time you had an emotional outburst, maybe at work, on the road, with your spouse, with your kids. Chances are this happened because you were tired. When we are sleep deprived, we're more likely to overact to situations that usually wouldn't rattle us so much. Have you ever seen a 2-year-old who has skipped a nap? You can see a version of how we all react to sleep deprivation in terms of our emotions. Unfortunately, this is compounded by the fact that we usually don't notice this amplification of our emotional reactions. It's kind of like being buzzed on alcohol and thinking you're okay to drive when everyone around you can see that you're not. The only person who can't see it is you. Sleep plays such a critical role in our relationships. Getting the sleep we need acts as emotional first aid. When we get the sleep we need, our brains are better able to process emotions and emotional events. We make better decisions and tend to be more patient. We have a greater ability to listen and concentrate when we're well rested, all components of a healthy relationship. The basics of the study were that one of the partners would get the normal amount of rest and the other partner would be deprived of 2 hours of sleep. Then after spending a day together, the couples were interviewed and asked to rate their partners on how they performed that day. They were asked about communication, connection, emotions, and mood. Interestingly, both partners rated the others performing below their average. It didn't matter which partner was sleep deprived. It decreased the enjoyment of both partners equally. They both reported that their partner was less present, less connected, less communicative, and less fun than they usually were. Other sleep and couple studies have shown that men were more likely to fight with their wives after a night of disturbed sleep. I've personally experienced this in my relationship. On an occasional night when I don't sleep well, the little things that don't seem to matter are much more irritating. Another study conducted by Amy Golden from the University of California found that couples who reported poor sleep during a 2-week period reported more daily marital conflict than those who got better sleep. I think we've all experienced this at some level, and it's not earth-shattering news that a lack of sleep hurts our relationships. But sometimes we may overlook this common sense relational circumstance. Getting enough sleep allows us to express our emotions better, communicate more effectively, and give those we love our full presence, strengthening the relationship. Simply put, when we sleep well, we do well in our relationships. Don't have emotionally charged conversations before bed, and especially not while in bed. Save the serious discussions with your significant other for a day when you're more rested. And on the days that you don't get great sleep, communicate this to your partner, spouse, and coworkers that work closely with you. Let the people around you know what's happening. Despite how this may seem, being open and vulnerable by communicating what's going on with you brings you closer to those around you and helps them understand if your behavior is slightly off. This could seriously make all the difference in the quality of your relationships. Resting involves permitting ourselves to slow down and simply taking a few deep breaths. Unfortunately, because this is so easy to do, it's also easy not to do. Resting could involve taking a short 20-minute recharge nap, taking a brisk walk, listening to a great song, or doing something that allows our body and mind just to slow down a bit. Slowing down is the key to resting because when we experience stress, things seem to speed up. Our minds race, our hearts race, and we kind of feel like we're in a race, but we are only in the race if we choose to be. Slowing down allows the energy to settle. Try this next time you're feeling like you're rushing through your day or week. Just slow down and take 5 deep breaths. When it feels like life is one emergency after another, consciously choose to slow down. It helps to realize that doing nothing is doing something. The first time I understood this simple concept, it changed my life. I'd adopted the hustle and achieve mentality when I opened my first business in college. I was going to school full-time, then working with clients immediately after and studying every second in between. I began to feel like a robot. I was exhausted and not prioritizing sleep or self-care, and it took its toll on me mentally and physically. I thought I didn't have the time to slow down. I didn't have time to do nothing, which is another way of saying meditate, pray, or create intentional silent time. I developed the belief that I didn't deserve to rest until everything was done, until the inbox of things to handle, accomplish, and do was empty. But I quickly discovered that this isn't a sustainable or joyful way to live. I found that I didn't need anything to experience the feelings of joy, peace, acceptance, and fulfillment that I was seeking through my constant doing. We are not human doings. We are human beings. It's so important to remember this and so easy to forget it. Slowing down helps us gain a much needed perspective to make better decisions and choose things that are no longer in alignment with our values. Slowing down takes practice, and you may have massive resistance around it, especially if you're a type A go-getter, hustler, high achiever. Slowing down is especially challenging when you're addicted to your stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. Yes, that happens. You can become, and many of us are, addicted to the high you feel from your stress hormone supply. Another critical insight to connect with is generally understanding why we may feel we are always rushing around. Maybe you identify being busy with being needed or important. Perhaps you feel like you haven't reached your goal or potential and don't deserve to rest until you do. Or maybe you feel that you haven't accomplished enough and that you don't deserve to rest until you achieve more. These are all common patterns I see when I work with high achievers with sleep challenges. I always remind them that the reason we do anything or want to achieve any goal is about how we think it's going to make us feel once we accomplish it. Life is all about feeling and meaning. And when we learn how to feel more and how to apply meaning in ways that are productive versus destructive, we have an advantage in the game of life, and we can leave the day behind us to sleep more soundly each night. Recharging involves implementing a consistent daily practice such as meditation that helps increase stress awareness and clear stress out of our body and mind. Recharging is something that we should not only do when we feel stressed, but every day to prepare for stress. You don't train for a marathon a week before the race. You train months in advance. So even when life seems calm and relaxed, stress awareness and mastery training are vital because life always has a way of throwing us curveballs to help us grow. Meditation retrains the body's parasympathetic nervous system to be able to turn on and off when appropriate. We must teach our bodies how to relax again, and meditation is a fantastic method to do just that. Meditation also just so happens to make us smarter, more creative, present, loving, and kind. You can think of meditation as going to the gym in your mind. The more you train, the stronger and better you get at it. When you practice meditation and mindfulness, you become more aware of the thoughts and have more control over which thoughts you pay attention to and which to let go of. You have the experience of separating yourself from your thoughts. Meditation is one of the simplest yet most profound, life-changing gifts you could give yourself every day. Meditation isn't just for monks. It's for anyone who wants to sleep better, perform better, be more creative, experience more happiness and joy, and feel more deeply. There are hundreds of great books on the scientifically proven benefits of mindfulness and meditation. Yes, it takes time. Just 10 minutes a day of consistent meditation has shown incredible benefits. You may have to invest in learning how to do it, but let me ask you a simple question. Are you willing to recharge and reset for just 1% of the day to make the other 99% better? I hope you answered yes. Several great apps teach simple and effective meditation and mindfulness techniques. One of my personal favorites, and one I often recommend, is called Headspace. Another app I love and use every morning is called Waking Up. There are also excellent courses like Transcendental Meditation and Vipassana Meditation training that you can attend to learn highly effective techniques that have been used for thousands of years. Resetting involves prioritizing time to play, ideally doing something active and fun with people you love. I don't know about you, but sometimes I take myself way too seriously. This constricts the fun and joy out of life. As children, we used to play, laugh, and imagine pretty much all day long. But as we become adults, life can seem much more serious. Play, laughter, and the use of our imagination become less frequent. Yes, there's a time and a place to get serious, but more often than not, we way overdo it on the serious to fun spectrum, especially as we age and take on more responsibilities. Laughter is medicine for the soul and is an incredible way of releasing stress and tension. Laughter triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. Endorphins promote an overall sense of well-being. Laughter has been found to strengthen our immune system, boost our mood, diminish pain, and protect us from the damaging effects of stress. Laughter may even help us live longer. Norwegian researchers reported findings from a 15-year study on the link between the sense of humor and death among 53,556 women and men in their country. Using a validated questionnaire and examining death from specific conditions, heart disease, infection, cancer, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, they found that for women, higher human scores were associated with a 48% less risk of death from all causes, a 73% lower risk of death from heart disease, and a 83% lower risk of death from infection. Nothing works faster or more dependently to bring our body and mind back into balance than a good laugh. By seeking out more opportunities for humor and laughter, we can improve our emotional health, strengthen our relationships, find a greater sense of happiness, and relieve physical tension and stress from our bodies, which leads to better sleep. What's also fantastic about laughter is that it's fun, free, and easy to use. Setting an intention to laugh more and seeking opportunities to infuse some humor into our days is an incredible way of resetting. Resetting also includes seeking and creating positive, authentic connections and community. In longevity studies, connection and community have proven to be the most influential factor for human health and longevity. If we feel lonely and isolated, our mental health suffers. And those with mental health challenges are more likely to suffer from insomnia or other sleep disorders. Plus, life is simply better when we have people we care about to share it with. Resetting could also take the form of a weekend getaway once per month or at least once per quarter. It could be a stimulus reset, such as doing a weekend digital detox, no phone, no computer or TV, or taking that much-needed vacation. Unfortunately, knowing better doesn't always lead to doing better. Knowledge isn't power. Inspired action is. Taking inspired action is what creates change. Deciding to master our stress allows us to thrive versus simply survive, and it's worth the effort. Ultimately, becoming a master of stress takes commitment, time, and focus, yet it yields improved sleep, energy, joy, creativity, meaning, and purpose. Choosing to become the master of our stress is a lifelong practice. We will all experience loss and pain and stressful events in our lives. So preparing now for these stressful events is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself and your loved ones. Stress and sleep, a vicious cycle. It is no surprise that stress affects our sleep quantity and quality. When we are stressed or worried about something, it can seem almost impossible to quiet our minds long enough to drift off. I hear this all the time working with clients. Devin, I just can't seem to turn my mind off at night. How do I turn my mind off? With a mind that won't turn off, before we know it, it's 4 a.m. and we still haven't fallen asleep. And if we finally do drift off, we tend to toss and turn all night and have dreams about all the things we're worried about. This restless, unrefreshing sleep causes us to barely function the next day and to become even more stressed over not being as productive or creative as we'd hoped to be. Research has shown us that stress and sleep are bidirectionally linked, meaning that the more stress you experience, the lower quality of sleep you get. And the lower quality sleep you get, the more stress you experience. This not so fun sleep and stress feedback loop can become what I call the sleep paradox, which means that the more you try to sleep, the more elusive sleep becomes. How do you turn off your mind at night to get to sleep and get out of this stress and sleep paradox? It starts with creating space. I call this creating a bed buffer to allow your body and mind to unwind from the day's events. Just like you would prepare a baby or toddler for bed by bathing them, singing to them, rocking them in a rocking chair, and reading them a bedtime story, we must have a routine that we do each night to help us leave the day's wins and losses behind us. We will go into greater detail on how to do this in part 3, supporting sleep. Unfortunately, our mind doesn't work like a light switch. Wouldn't it be nice if it did? It doesn't just turn off. It never turns off, even when we're asleep, which is one of the reasons why it's essential to have a mindfulness practice. Practicing mindfulness trains us to become aware of our thoughts and the space in between them. The truth is, most of our lives we spend lost in thought. That is, we think without knowing that we're thinking. This puts us at the mercy of whatever thoughts arise, and because of evolutionary survival programming, the thinking is often in some form of, is this safe? Our mind is always looking for what's not right. Our mind becomes the theater of our worries, doubts, and fears, which creates anxiety and regret. Mindfulness is a way to break the spell and wake up to the beauty of the present moment. I've found mindfulness to be one of the most effective and powerful techniques in helping clients naturally solve insomnia. I've worked with people who have tried everything and suffered from insomnia for decades, but now can fall and stay asleep all night from implementing particular mindfulness and coaching techniques. They say it's a miracle. I say it's mindfulness. A new study published in 2015 in JAMA Internal Medicine included 49 middle-aged and older adults who had trouble sleeping. Half completed a mindfulness awareness program that taught them meditation and other exercises designed to help them focus on moment-by-moment experiences, thoughts, and emotions. The other half completed sleep education class that taught them ways to improve their sleep habits. Both groups met 6 times once a week for 2 hours. Compared with the people in the sleep education group, those in the mindfulness group had less insomnia, fatigue, and depression at the end of the 6 sessions. Another study published in Frontiers of Psychology in 2018 was conducted to investigate the effects of mindfulness training on insomnia and sleep quality in individuals with fibromyalgia, a chronic pain condition characterized by local pain spots and prolonged generalized body pain. The experimental group was taught a specific mindfulness meditation technique over 7 weeks. The results shown that compared to the control group, the group that did not participate in the mindfulness program, the mindfulness intervention effectively reduced insomnia and improved sleep quality. Why does mindfulness practice work so well for supporting sleep? It helps us to improve our ability to see things as they are and gain much-needed perspective during challenging times. One of the most effective and straightforward mindfulness meditation tools is focusing on our breath. Intentionally breathing can shift both the mind and body in remarkable ways because our breath is the anchor between the body and the mind. Using your breath to relax and release rather than resist and persist is a handy tool for finding balance in the brain and body. Create a clear transition from your day to your night with a simple bedtime wind-down routine. Try bed breathing. Inhale through your nose slowly down into your diaphragm for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 7. Exhale from your mouth for a count of 8. Repeat this breathing cadence at least 12 times. which is the minimum amount of breaths that have been shown to activate the parasympathetic rest and digest response until you are relaxed or asleep. Try taking energy breaks. Experiment with taking 5 to 10-minute energy breaks every 45 to 60 minutes throughout the day. Schedule these energy breaks in your calendar and stick to them. An energy break could involve walking up and down the stairs or around a building a few times. It could be as simple as bouncing up and down for a few minutes while taking several deep breaths. The best energy breaks include movement, drinking water, listening to music, and being outdoors to get fresh air and sun. Depending on your situation, do what is available to you. It will make all the difference at the end of the day when you try to shift out of work mode and into sleep mode.